Hi guys, how are you guys doing? Good morning. I'm hoping this is not a long video, okay? I'm really hoping it's not a long video, but there's some things I have to address, and this is something that God has been telling me for the last week, okay? However, when I put the video out, similar to what I'm saying now, it mainly had to do with Cinderella, and God showed me Cinderella again last night, okay? But it mainly had to do with Cinderella. So I'm gonna explain something to you guys, and I'm gonna, except now it's happening but the other end, okay? The Lord said, I wrote everything down. He said audibly, the counterfeits, they're coming. The counterfeits, they're coming. This is what he said audibly. And then he said, be careful, stay loyal, okay? After he said that, he showed me a vision of a wolf, and the wolf, there was a full moon, and the wolf was howling. The reason why he showed me that, because I asked him, after he showed me that vision, I asked God, and I said to God, does the wolf means like wolf in sheep's clothing? And he confirmed that the wolf represents some counterfeits. They are wolves. Some counterfeits are evil. Some counterfeits, they know they're counterfeits. They know they're coming in with the intention to stir you away from who you're actually supposed to be with, okay? And some counterfeits, they're not aware. They're just confused. A counterfeit doesn't mean that the person's bad or the person's evil. A counterfeit can literally be someone that's just confused, trying to figure out who the person is, and they're confused. They may not be discerning properly, and they may think you're the person, and and try to pursue you, right? But the Lord was showing me the wolf to confirm that some of them, they're in contract and they're in an agreement, and they're being used by the enemy, okay? So they know that their intentions are not to be loyal or to love you. Their intentions are mainly to stir you away from the person. When God showed me the werewolf and the full moon, that also is a representation of the new full moon coming up. I confirmed it with God. The new full moon coming up, and he confirmed that it's also witchcraft, okay? There is a specific type of witchcraft that is being done in this season. So God is my witness. God is my witness. So after I finish recording the video, I'm going to let you guys listen to it again. But after I finish recording it, I'm like, God, thank you for reminding me about the moon, because I wrote it down, but I was supposed to look it up to see when the next full moon was to put it in the video, and I didn't do that. The next full moon is January 13th. So God just reminded me about the moon again, and I looked it up, to look it up, whatever. And it's January 13th, but guess what this full moon is called? It's called Wolf Moon. God is my witness. I did not know this. Please take heed listen to this video. Please really take in what I'm trying to tell you guys, okay? Because the Lord showed me a wolf howling in the full moon, and he said that this is what's going on right now in this season. This next moon is a wolf moon. And the witchcraft that is being done, this witchcraft has already been done in the past, but they're renewing a contract. They're renewing a spell the next full moon, okay? And this witchcraft is basically, they're supposed to bring in a bunch of suitors. Whether you're a female, a bunch of men coming in. Or if you're a male, a bunch of women coming in. And this is to try to confuse you and to stir you away from who God actually called you to be with, okay? God confirmed all this to me. After he confirmed that the full moon and the werewolf also represents the next full moon and the witchcraft that's being done, he also showed me the word divorce. And this is not a dream. This is in the spirit visions, okay? And I heard God audibly. He showed me the word divorce, letting me know that the people that may get tricked, that may not understand these things and may end up falling for a counterfeit, this is what ends up leading to divorce. We all know that when God brings your ordained person in, the kingdom husband or the kingdom wife that you're ordained to be with, we know that divorce is not an option. Okay, when God brings the person he called you to be with, divorce is not an option. When it's someone that you choose based on your free will, or it's a counterfeit, you go through counterfeit situations. You go through things that, everything pertaining to that relationship, if it's not according to God's will, everything pertaining to that relationship is counterfeit. It's not the real deal. It's not what, who God called you to be with, okay? Now, I know a lot of people don't believe in the whole kingdom marriage, kingdom spouse, and all that stuff, but let me tell you something. It's 100% real. And the Lord showed me some things last night to confirm to me that there are people who he has assigned, who he has instructed, that he wants to be together. Okay, and there's people coming in who are confused, and they're thinking that you are their partner or you are their wife or husband. And there's some people who are coming in knowing that you're not their person, but wanting to be with you because they don't want nobody else to be with you, or because you have all the qualities and desires that they want pertaining to like what they're looking for in a woman and what they're looking for in a man, but they know that they're not fit to be your person, as in they're not doing the right things, as in they're still of the world, they're still doing things that they want to do. And they know that if they were to be in a marriage with you, they wouldn't be 100% loyal, they wouldn't be upright, right? But because of the traits and the characteristics and who you are and what you have, they want you because of that, right? It's like they don't want nobody else to have you, right? So this even includes past people, because the Lord will show me past people coming back in and new people coming in. And this is so real. Let me tell you how real this is. Okay? This is insane. Because before I get done, let me tell you what God showed me. So then after he showed me that divorce, he then showed me Anastasia and Drusilla. I think it's Drusilla or Anastasia from Cinderella 2. You know Cinderella 2, the movie, how they Anastasia masqueraded as Cinderella, right? The Lord was showing me how this is happening on both ends. Okay, so last week I put out a video about Cinderella's slipper. Okay, and the Lord was showing me how the glass slipper was being shined. They were shining the glass slipper, as in like they were shining the slipper, and they're preparing to bring the slipper to Cinderella, because they knew who Cinderella was. The prince already knew in his heart who his wife is. In his heart, he already knew who she was, but he had to find her. But he was familiar with her spirit. He was familiar with everything about her, right? So he just had to find the woman that fit the shoe. In Cinderella 2, Anastasia, she masqueraded as Cinderella. Not only that, but she did witchcraft to make herself fit in Cinderella's shoe. And the Lord was showing me how this is already happening. And this actually happened to a particular prophet already, where basically he knew who his wife was. God already said who his wife was, but there was a lot of counterfeits that were around, and the counterfeits were also creating confusion. When there's counterfeits around, before I say anything, sometimes when you're gifted in the spirit and you can hear God, sometimes when it comes to your own life, sometimes you can get confused or you start questioning things. But when it comes to other people, it's almost like you know exactly what's going on with them. But when it comes to your life, it's like you got to confirm 10 times, 20 times, 30 times to make sure everything's okay. But when it comes to everybody else, it's like you get a direct answer, right? And that happens a lot with us, right? Because we're supposed to use our gifts to serve the body of Christ, right? So to help others. But sometimes when it comes to like ourselves, we get confused, right? So the Lord was showing me how, there was a servant of God who had a lot of counterfeits around him. And basically he knew who his wife was. God already told him who his wife was. But when counterfeits come in and cause division and confusion, what happens is you start to question, is that really my person? Or is this my person? Or is this my person? Or is this my person, right? And then you start trying to figure out who the person really is, right? And when I got that vision with Cinderella's shoe being shined, the Lord was showing me that also referred to that man of God that was going through something similar, where he knew who his wife was, but there was all these women that were around him, were trying to attach themselves to him. And one of the women was very evil, as in she knew what she was doing, and she did things to try to set him up, basically, right? So God was showing me that she did things to set him up on purpose. But he knew who his wife was, but he was also fell into the trap of the counterfeits. He was confused, right? So this happens a lot, especially when there's also witchcraft involved. And I want to explain this. So the reason why God showed me that was he was showing me how many women will try to fit themselves in Cinderella's shoe, knowing that that's not their shoe, but they will still be relentless and they will still try to implement themselves in the picture in order to stir up drama, confusion, or in hopes that they can steal that shoe, steal the glass slipper, right? So this also refers to pertaining to like men. Okay, so some men, they know that you're not their wife, or some men, they will think that you're their wife, and sometimes there's witchcraft that will manipulate the situation and create confusion. And this may be like people trying to send counterfeits your way on purpose to stir you away from the actual person that God wants you to be with, and then these men will be trying to pursue you, right? So this is definitely a thing, because you know, when God was showing me all this from since last week, right? Pertaining to the females, you know, the females trying to fit in Cinderella's shoe, and it's not their shoe, but they're trying to push themselves on the prince and everything like that. And God was showing me the analogy, and he showed me that some of these women are relentless, as in they know that they're not the wife, but they will still try to fit Cinderella's shoe. And if things don't work out, they retaliate, right? So he was showing me this week now, last night, reversed, the roles reversed. Now it's men. Some men are doing it too. And something happened actually that confirmed it, but some of the men don't know. There's confusion, okay? There's a certain type of witchcraft that they do where if somebody's affected by witchcraft, let me give you an example of me, okay? So because I have a lot of people in my family that do witchcraft to me, right? And they're trying to stir me away from everything that is according to God. They will also try to send suitors my way. And I could honestly say that I've had so many people from before November last year, but it's been really heavy since November last year. Since November last year, I've had so many people reach out to me telling me that God told them I'm their wife. And this is in Instagram DMs, emails, even phone calls. People booking coaching sessions asking me if I'm their wife and saying that God has told them I'm their wife. I have a kingdom husband, okay, and I'm very loyal to my kingdom. I've been loyal to my kingdom husband for years, okay, because I know God's voice, okay? So I'm not saying this to embarrass anybody, because this is not, you should never be embarrassed for trying to get confirmation about something. Never. It's normal, right? But I already know that with my situation, I know that there's witchcraft involved. And I spoke to someone today who thought I was their kingdom wife, and he literally told me that he was hearing my voice in the spirit. And first he was hearing like a male's voice, and the male's voice changed to my voice. And I told him that's a masqueraded spirit. That's a familiar spirit. And I literally had to explain to him, like, this is what they do. They will sit there and they will send false dreams, masqueraded dreams, to you to pretend to be someone in hopes to lure you in. Okay, this is witchcraft. And so if you already have feelings for the person, or you already think this person is your wife or husband, it's going to be a little bit more, you may fall for these dreams a lot more, faster. Basically, you may not discern them as much, because when you like someone, or you're falling for someone, or you think someone's your person, you start to dream about them. And if it's witchcraft involved, and it's actually, you actually like the person, it's working, you're going to see this person in your dream, but it's not going to be that person. It's going to be a familiar spirit. It's going to be a spirit using that person's face. It's going to be a spirit masquerading their voice. And he said he knew something was up, because he was hearing like a male's voice, and then it was like the male's voice was turning into my voice, and then going back to the male's voice. And I had to tell him, yep, that's what they do. This happens a lot, not just with, counterfeit situations and trying to confuse you pertaining to your partner, but this happens a lot when trying to frame a prophet or frame one of God's anointed, right? And this happens a lot, where they will come in and they'll masquerade as the prophet or as the pastor in these dreams, and they will do foul things, and then y'all will sit there and wake up and be like, oh, I had a dream about this prophet, I had a dream about that prophet, not realizing that this is, you have to understand that when you're dealing with a prophet of God, if you are connected to any ministry and that prophet of God is a real prophet of God, that prophet of God is hated by the kingdom of darkness. So you have to understand that if that's a real prophet, that prophet's going to be persecuted, right? And there's going to be a lot of witches and demons that are going to try to frame that prophet and make that prophet look bad. So you have to understand, if you're a part of that prophet's ministry, you are going to have these types of dreams about that prophet, because they're going to try to lure you away from getting help, or they're going to try to make you hate that prophet, dislike that prophet. They may even try to make you fall in love with that prophet and have you trying to pursue that prophet, and that may not even be your person, right? So that's what they were doing. And that's not the only person that has reached out to me and told me that. There's so many people that has reached out to me saying like, oh, I was with you in the spirit, and I'm like, that's not me. I know who my husband is. That's not me. So I'm saying this because it's really heavy around this time. And the Lord was showing me that there is a full moon that they're trying to use. Okay, the next full moon, and they're trying to create counterfeit situations because they want to lead people astray and to lead you away from who God has called you to be. Who God has called you to be with. I also want to mention this as well. I am not telling you to be loyal to someone and you're not 100% sure if they're your person or not. No, I am telling you what God told me, and I'm telling you to be loyal to who God told you to be with. You are responsible to confirm who your person is with God. Okay, you have to, because if a bunch of women are saying that one man's their husband, something's not right, because God's not the author of confusion. If a bunch of men are saying one woman's their wife, something's not right, because God's not the author of confusion. So something is going on spiritually. Something's being mixed up spiritually. There's confusion going on that's creating all this, right? So you have a responsibility to go to God and to confirm who your person is, okay? Because not only would that, if you're confused and you're going after the wrong person, that can further deter you away from who you're actually supposed to be with. All right, so I want to share this with you guys to be very cautious. Did I mention the divorce part? Yeah, I mentioned the divorce part. Okay. Man picking counterfeit being. Okay. Yes, thank you, Lord. I wrote everything down on my phone. So I was like, wait, why did I write this down? But I remember now, because when God was showing me all this in the spirit, he was saying like how they're doing the witchcraft is they're bringing food to you in the spirit. So they will come in the spirit pretending to be me, or pretending to be a man of God, or pretending to be a woman of God. Whoever you may think is your wife or your husband, they will come in the dream with their face on. They'll give you food, and that is how they do their spells, the love spells. That's how they do the obsessive spells. That's how they do like the witchcraft spells. So be careful. Some of these, when God showed me the wolf, again, some of these counterfeits do, not all, some of them are really confused and just don't really have discernment in that area, and they may think you're their person, but there's some who know what they're doing and they know they're being used, and they're similar to the woman that I said that's relentless, that knew that that prophet had a wife, and who the wife was, but there was her and a bunch of other women that were hoping that they would get the shoe, so they were relentless and they decided to continue to try to pursue him despite knowing who the real wife is and who God has for him, right? It's the same concept with us women. There's going to be men out there who know that they're not your kingdom husband, but they're going to still try to pursue you in hopes to deter you away from who you're really supposed to be with, okay? In hopes that they can be with you. You know, some of them may actually truly want to be with you, but if it's not God's will, why are you trying to force yourself into a will that belongs to someone else? Do you get what I'm saying? So, but some of these men are gonna come, men and women, but he showed me men are going to come in the spirit with food, trying to feed you food, to try to deter you away from the kingdom husband, okay? So the Lord said, be careful and to stay loyal. So again, I already talked about the female version of this happening, but in this case, he was showing me that men are being used to go after certain kingdom wives. Some of them are being used unknowingly and they're being tricked and thinking you're their person, and some of them they're being used and they know they're being used, okay? So I want to put this out there. I know it's a long video. It was very hard for me to articulate it, but I hope that I articulated the best way possible for you guys, I guess. But anyways, I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.